You are listening to the WW Phil podcast, your guide to feel good. Phil is an everyday guy who wanted to feel good. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Now let's join our host Phil for today's conversation about wellness and feeling good.
Hey family, very excited about this episode of the podcast as we go and we'll talk to our friend Allie. So let's go now and listen to our conversation.
Well, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm in bed.
Oh, well, it's Thursday night, late at night, 9:30 you're at, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to get to chat. What's going on?
It's the quiet place right now, so.
Oh, does that mean like kids are sleeping, that kind of stuff?
Kids are sleeping, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Excellent. Well, how are y'all navigating through this lovely COVID time?
At first I was okay, because, I'm here all the time, just being home as stay-at-home mom, but
Yeah.
it's really wearing on me because before I didn't have to go anywhere,
Yeah.
but now I'm not allowed to go anywhere, so it's kind of like...
Yeah, it can be that same thing of like when you put foods off limit or you say everything is allowed, and then you
Right.
you're constructing that mindset, and sometimes when you put things off limits, that starts to drive you crazy. Either you want to do it or you're mad at it, you hate it, that kind of stuff. So
And before I was like, I really dread going anywhere with all three children,
yeah.
and now I can't wait to leave my house.
Can somebody just take these kids?
Yeah, pretty much.
I get it. Yeah, my world changed quite a bit in the aspect of, well, I always work from home every day, but I added in the wife and the kid back into the mix. So for the last I don't know 8 or so weeks, we've been all three trying to navigate living here and doing that during the day. And I lost my office, which that's where I am now, is the actual office at our house. But that had to become school. And so I moved myself off into the back bedroom where it's quieter and you could have actual conference calls and that kind of stuff without interruption. So we had to learn how to navigate through that. And so we've successfully done that. My wife went back to work this week, so it makes it a little different, and we're doing shorter schedules and things like that. But we're making it work. So overall, things are good. So I would say that I'm blessed and have been blessed throughout this entire process. But
The whole school thing is another subject.
yeah, today was the last day of virtual school for my kid. She's done with kindergarten.
If you don't know how to navigate computers like myself, you're screwed.
Yeah. I get it. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to get this cat out of here because it is an insane... We'll give her a little cameo. This dead-gum thing. So we'll get the cat out of here, and that'll make my life a little more regulated. She evidently can open doors. I came in here and closed the door by myself. That's all right. We're just doing this thing, so...
I've got the 3 dogs here downstairs. So.
Cool. Well, I always start all of these basically about the same way. So I want to know kind of how you came to enjoy WW, how you came to know WW, that you knew somebody that it worked for them. You've been introduced to it as a kid. Tell me kind of how it all came to the fact that you knew that WW existed and what made you think it would work for you. And let's kind of start from there.
Well, I do recall back in the day, my mom did WW, and she used to have like the actual book. And back when I was, I don't know, middle school, going into high school, I was kind of a little chunk dunk. And I decided to join on a couple things with her, and that kind of just, fell off the wagon. And, middle school to high school, I did do sports. And then, going out of high school, I joined my culinary world.
Yeah.
I went to culinary school. Right out of culinary school, I jumped right into all the restaurants, and that's when, food is always around you. And I got pregnant when I was 23, 24, I don't know, something like that. I gained 60 pounds.
Okay.
I managed IHOP. I was the front of the house manager at IHOP, so I had all pancakes to my liking that I wanted, and I ate them every single day. And I was in that mentality of where I'm pregnant, I can do and eat what I want.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? Well, I gained 60 pounds. And then fast forward, I had my second one. I gained 30. Fast forward to that, 15. It was weird. It was like half, half, half. After my
No
third,
7.5 pound baby coming.
they were all little babies too.
Oh,
They were no more than 7.5 pounds.
wow.
Yeah, mommy was large, but they weren't. So right after my third child, I got into like a kind of like a deep kind of like depression. I wasn't not like super, super deep, but it was more of like, I'm not happy. I don't like the way I look. Someone I went to high school with has been doing Weight Watchers for many, many years, and I saw her transitions over the, years before that, and it always piqued my interest. And I don't know if anyone's seen my stories recently, about a couple weeks after I had our son, I went into the hospital and I had no idea. I had postpartum preeclampsia. I had no clue. I didn't even know like what to look for signs. They didn't tell me any of that crap. You'd think they would. But my blood pressure was over 200, and it was scary. It was really scary. Thank God my mom was there. Or else I would have had to call actual 911, because I called the doctor and they said you need to go right away.
Yeah.
But fast forward through all that, it was kind of like a wake-up call, even though that really wasn't, my fault per se, but it was a wake-up call with like, I need to get my body right, especially after not feeling great about myself. So I messaged my friend Lauren, and I decided to join. I joined February 5th, 2019, and I'm here 90 pounds later, gone. Wow. I did not do any kind of workout either. Oh. It like amazes me.
Yeah.
That you could do this program without working out. My everyday life.
Just your standard mom workout.
Exactly. And when I joined, we just got a house like 2 months before that.
Yeah.
So before we were living in a ranch. So now I have a basement, a first floor, and a second floor. So I was navigating all those, floors with 3 kids.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that's my workout. 3 kids, 3 dogs, everyday life here.
Hey, that's seemingly enough. So tell me like how you kind of gained it in stages, but like, and you kind of said that, your own words, you were a chunky person, maybe a good period of your life. So being overweight, just having kids was not the first time you had that experience. That's not solely the blame or anything like that.
Yeah, it was more of middle school years, those awkward, body years.
Yeah.
Before getting into high school sports, because I went right from middle school, I jumped right into soccer and tennis. I've done soccer since I could probably like walk. That was my thing. Mm-hmm. But I think when you're a kid, you don't really, you don't check what you're eating, and it just happened. I gained more weight, and then high school, most of it came off doing sports, and then it was pretty much right after the bar years of my life, after getting pregnant.
Yeah,
that's where it really just kind of like. After having my first, I ate whatever the heck I wanted. I didn't really care. It was convenience with ordering out, and being a mom, first-time mom, beer was my best friend.
Yeah.
What isn't, as a mom or a parent, you want to have your little beverage.
Yeah.
And it didn't really bother me as far as how many of those calories were going into me, liquid or non-liquid. It just.
Yeah. So your food lifestyle now compared to what it was a year before your first kid, totally different?
Pretty totally different, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what about your culinary school and stuff like that allowed you to were you gaining food knowledge, or were you just gaining food ability? Like, were you actually nutritionally trained and that kind of stuff? Like you had some knowledge on this kind of stuff?
They don't really teach you nutritional stuff.
Yeah.
They just teach you how to make good food, and all the restaurants that I worked in from just you kind of learn different techniques and whatnot. And when I joined this page, my main thing was to, one, accountability, but two, I really wanted to take what I used to eat as far as even takeout and make it, flip-flop into WW friendly.
Yeah.
And I've learned over the year how to do more so of that. And my husband loves everything, prior and now, so he's enjoying that I'm cooking more now.
Yeah. Now, do y'all both do WW or just yourself?
No, just me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that something that has been hard for you, or he's supportive and on game for it, but doesn't need to, or?
My number one supporter.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. In the beginning, he was kind of skeptic as far as, how it's going to be, like food wise, but I sure showed him.
That's right. That's right. I mean, seriously, like 90 pounds that's a legit thing. Like, have you got to WW Gold?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, lifetime. I'm a lifetime since January 23rd.
Wow. So it wasn't even a full year. 11 months.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I lost 100 pounds in my first year too without exercise. So the second year and coming up on the third year, not as easy when you add in the exercise. Totally different changes of behavior. We can talk about that in a little bit. So tell me what you see now with all the food training and the ability to cook for multiple restaurants and that kind of stuff. How have you taken that and like brought it in? So we're talking to people that have seen your page and that kind of stuff, and people that would watch this and know like what have you seen as an example for yourself to take those foods you love and actually bring them into foods that you can love and consume and stay on plan and on track.
As far as all my recipes, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, just like what is your approach to that? Like, we all know that you can make 2-ingredient bread, those kind of things. But
yeah.
Like, what has been the sustainable behavior for you that makes it successful? Like, what beyond ingredients? How did you change the food?
I don't want it to be boring. Is my main thing. I don't want to have like a plain Jane cheese pizza. And I want to be able to take that pizza to like an extreme level where you're using a lot of those 0 point foods with, throwing on a little bit of protein. I am not plain Jane. I do enjoy many, many different types of foods.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my husband on that board too, but I've never been picky as far as ingredients. So I'm able to play around with that more too. And, my husband does work a lot, so I do enjoy a lot of the food myself.
Yeah.
So I have no, I don't have to worry about anybody saying what about it. But I try and I'm always thinking in my head, even when I'm, laying here in bed, oh, I could do this or this or that. I don't know, it's just how my chef mind works. And
yeah.
I don't know, it's worked out for me.
Yeah. I mean,
and I hope it's worked out for you guys, if, for them, whoever tries my recipes. I just try to think of, especially that low-cal bread, what you can do to make it just as good as a piece of bread that's 5 points,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like, and to some degree, there is the assigned value of like when you eat something good, you can, maybe there are some foods that everyone would say that's good, but there are even people that don't like a Snicker bar, or there are people that don't like pizza, and that's their own choice. There are people that don't like stuffing; they love dressing. People that don't like dressing, whatever. There's all different tastes. There are people that don't like certain protein bars, and I love those. And there's some people that won't spend the points on the ones that I love, and they go for the 3-point ones, and I can't stand those or whatever.
I just ate a 3-point one in bed.
Yeah. So there's different tastes, and I think there's something to be said for the actual mental side of that, and that's you assigning that value that it's worth it and that you like it. And when you do it, then there's nothing to be said that you could eat a high point pizza from a great restaurant or make a low point pizza and be just as happy.
Yeah,
content and happy in your person.
Yeah, when I see what I had prior as far as like pizza, I prefer what I'm eating now, because I remember, ordering from, like Domino's or Pizza Hut or whatever and feeling like a complete pile of poop after. And then I kept doing it every time we ordered out. So I'm thinking like, why was I doing that?
Yeah.
This felt gross, but I'm loving the food more so now than I did on certain things. But of course I'm going to, of course I would love a fat, greasy cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't, but I can totally make that work over here,
Absolutely, absolutely. There's something to be said for that whole process of doing the mental work to see whether or not something's good for you, like socially and WW-wise. Maybe that's deeper into the why of why you want to follow this journey. But when you establish that value and you set that moral in your life for you, that value-based judgment on what you want, that's when the limitless kicks in, and whatever you want to accomplish on WW is so true. So tell me a little bit more about like where you were, like when you decided in February of 19, like what was going on in your body and how you felt about yourself, how you saw the person in the mirror that led you to say, man, I got to do this WW thing.
I was honestly disgusted with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't look at myself in the mirror, clothed, unclothed. We have one of those stand-up showers in our bathroom here, and it was even difficult for me to shave my damn legs, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't maneuver right. I was to where I had to go to our other shower and go in there and take care of that kind of stuff. I hated going outside in public, especially when it was hot, because I don't wear shorts. I never liked wearing shorts. I constantly wore black, thinking it would hide every little thing. Don't get me wrong, I still love the color black. But yeah, I'm always wearing black, but I wore black then for different reasons.
Yeah.
And covered everything up. Last summer, even when I just started my journey, I still didn't want to go outside in a bathing suit. We have a pool now, and it's just like I didn't even want to leave my own house.
Yeah.
I was that uncomfortable with myself. I would cover up with hoodies in the middle of summer. Like I was just so miserable.
Yeah.
And recently, with me losing all this weight, I'm so excited to wear shorts this year. I cannot wait. Yeah. And I never thought I'd love my legs, and I love my legs. Like I never, ever liked shorts. Even in my high school years, I'd wear capri pants.
Yeah.
I guess my mindset is completely different. You know, being a mom with 3 kids, it's like not that I don't care anymore, but I shouldn't care what other people think.
Yeah.
Even in my own house. And I'm happy I am there. So. Yeah,
I mean, one of the cool things about being successful on WW is when you finally get to that moment to where you're like, holy crap, I have actually lost this amount of weight. And it sinks in and you really believe it. And like, there's no more debate on whether or not you are worthy to have done that, or no matter how you got there or how long it took you to get there. You're like, holy crap, I lost that amount of weight. And that feels like in any room, no matter where you are, you're like, dude, I did that. Yeah. And then like other tasks that maybe at some point in life kind of seem kind of hard, such as being comfortable in yourself and walking outside wearing something that's revealing. That seems hard. But you're like, hold on, the person that lost 90 pounds, I don't need the approval of anyone because I did that. Right. So, you know, when you take off that thing, and that thing is often something that we put on ourselves. No, I did it for a decade. I call that my decade of pause. I put my whole life on pause because I thought I wasn't worthy because I didn't see myself the right way. Right. And then, you know, somewhere around 2009, 2010, I got started to change, and I took part of that off. And it really wasn't even until 2017 that I started losing weight. You know, so it's kind of a crazy thing for me as I started to see myself differently and accept that I could belong and that kind of thing. And I think one of those cool things about WW and losing weight is you realize that I belonged to the whole time. I just didn't accept it. So when we started accepting that, like then we truly can live and thrive within our own skin. Like sometimes there's been times when I looked in the mirror and I'm like that person. But now I have fewer and fewer of those times. Even when I don't feel comfortable and my clothes don't touch me right and that kind of stuff, I still can love that guy because I know all the things that he's done. So how
your youth comes back. Your youth.
Yeah.
Like when
absolutely.
You know, heavier, I looked a lot older than I was or I am.
Yeah, I don't know what age I look. I just had my 45th birthday, but I feel better than I did when I was 30.
Great,
Yeah. So my main thing right now is this hair that I got going on. I need to go find a barber that's willing to cut hair in this time.
Oh man, I've been cutting my husband's hair and I've been doing pretty good.
Yeah, I need it because like this stuff right here normally should be short. This stuff right here grows on the back. I'm out on the hair thing. I'm so ready to have my normal hair back, but whatever.
I butchered my son's hair because he doesn't sit still, but that's another story.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. So tell me, like you mentioned, like even last summer. Surely you had lost some weight between February and last summer, but where along there did you start to really put some equity and believe in Allie and that kind of stuff?
Probably around when I lost about 30 pounds. I was kind of like, wow, this is really working. And I loved it. I was already feeling fantastic about myself. I have major back issues. To this day, I still do. And it's taken a lot of weight off physically and mentally too, because it can be draining. And I was to the point where I couldn't even walk sometimes because my nerves would be pinching so bad. And being less weight on me, it's helped. It's not gone, but it certainly has helped me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm the same way. Like I had a really bad traumatic knee injury when I was younger. And then walking around at 396 pounds, it was hideous. It hurt all the time. Yeah. There were things I could not even do. And truly, there are still some things that I don't necessarily do now. But I don't feel that pain like I used to. There are a lot more aggressive things that I do now. And there's times when I'm like, oh, wait, don't do that. But I'm not even done losing weight. I haven't lost all the weight that I've lost. But I now know that I don't have to put myself on the sidelines for a lot of stuff. And I can do things that I couldn't do. And a lot of that is not even just ability or capability. It is actually just the moment where I will say yes and not say no by default. Like there are some things that I have to think about and not do. But like, there's a lot more things that I can just go ahead and do it without thinking about it. And
I went down my child's playset the other day.
Yeah,
I went on a slide, and I was like, I never would have done this.
Yeah,
never would have even been outside.
Yeah,
and last year I felt terrible because I had my 3 kids. I should be out there playing with them, and I didn't want to.
Yeah, and I know for whatever reason you have somehow fallen in love with some crazy zombie virtual reality game. I see you playing that thing, and it's like she's going to town. Like, what is that?
It's Beat Sabers. It's like a Guitar Hero on steroids.
Yeah. Evidently, you're pretty good at it, huh?
I am pretty good.
So is it like music based? Are you listening to music when you do that?
Yeah, I'm a huge music person.
Okay.
In high school, I had a subwoofer in my car. Okay.
Yeah.
And my father runs. He does marathons, so he would always be training and running in the streets on my way to school. He'd be like, "Oh, here comes Allison." Yeah. He could hear my music from down the road. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. I'm a musician as well. I play all the time, so I totally get the music thing. It's something that can really just bring you back to that centered place. I love a good song, and I'm pretty emotional guy, so a good lyric too will get me, and I'll be like, oh good. But anyway, cool. So as you've learned to do this, like, what inspired you to pop on the Instagram and start telling your story on here? And that's truly how we met and got to talking and stuff, and I've been inspired by you. It's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here and that kind of stuff. And so kind of how did that version of you kind of allow to grow and realize the value of telling your story on here through social media?
Well, I have a personal account, and I noticed that I'd stopped, putting normal, regular pictures up, and I'd put, my weight loss or food, and I was like, well, I had a feeling maybe people are getting annoyed of seeing that, so I decided to make this account. And before, on my personal account, I followed some that I do follow here, and they kind of got me the idea to just start the own WW one on top of your personal one, and it kind of just thrived from there. In the beginning I would just post a couple pictures of what I eat, and I just really started enjoying it. And,
Yeah.
you know, it kept me busy at home other than my kids, but it kind of gave me something to look forward to being a stay-at-home mom. Like I needed something else besides just my daily mom duties. I had nothing to really like look forward to doing every single day like I used to. It was, you know, going to work, you know, it was a
Yeah.
different kind of thing. So you know, that's my thing now. I enjoy
Yeah.
doing it. So
That's great. And I'm glad that you do. How old are the kids, the three ages?
my oldest is 9. My middle one's going to be 3 on June 2nd, and then 1.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
That was
truly.
another thing. Like after I had my daughter, she was 6 months old. We bought a house. That month, I found out I was pregnant with our son. So it was kind of like boom, 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 and
Yeah.
then like, oh God.
Yeah. And yeah, so it's so cool that you've been able to. I mean, like your baby will only know you as this version of you,
Yeah.
and your older kid has gotten to see mom kind of make some changes. That's got to be pretty inspiring to see that, like especially being the one that had to go through the period of time where mom wasn't so active,
Right.
and now you are. I know that my daughter has probably seen. I don't know if she realizes or whatever, like, but over the last 2 years, dad has totally lost more than mom,
Yeah.
So it's definitely changes and stuff, and it's funny to hear weight loss stories through the eyes of a kid, because I think my daughter kind of thinks of me as Daddy Pig every once in a while from Peppa Pig, because she talks about my big fat belly. So it's pretty hilarious. But anyway, living life through the eyes of a kid is pretty inspiring, and to see that that they really just have no limits in how much joy they can have. And I feel like that's kind of the life that WW opens back up to us as you do this process. We learn that there's so much joy and happiness to be had. There's also so much sorrow and things like that. And really, the variables are just choosing to which one we can live in and reside in. Surely we'll have to go through and experience pain and heartache and sorrow and loss and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But just as we don't always get to live on the mountain, we don't always have to stay in the valley. So I think WW is really good at equipping us to move through that. So do you feel like that over the time of your journey, you've been equipped with some of these tools that allow you to actually to move away from having maybe struggles with food and saying more likely my struggles were actually with my behaviors around my food and my behaviors around activity? Like, do you agree with that, or has it totally been mostly just a food change for you? Because I always say that being overweight is most likely a symptom of what else is going on in our life. So has there been that discovery for yourself?
Well, I did notice, with being on this journey, I used to eat because I was bored. Mm-hmm. I would just grab whatever and just sit up by the TV and have a bag of, Doritos with my big, thick peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and not realize what I was actually doing. Yeah. And I didn't have a lot of healthy food in the house either. As far as what I am buying now, I would buy a lot of processed foods before, a lot of stuff just to throw in a pan, and as a chef too, like thinking back, like what was I doing? But I'd do like a meal here and there, but it would be not so healthy meal like I am today. Yeah. And mostly my shopping my main things are produce, so it's like completely different.
Hey, I want to jump in here for just a second and take a pause, and we'll hear from one of our sponsors. Thank you for joining us. We'll be right back.
Now a message from our partners.
Hey, family, have you heard about my friend Lindsay? Yeah, the WW Pound Dropper. She is amazing. She's a wife and a mom of 3 amazing kiddos. And after a diagnosis of a life-threatening disease, she knew she really needed to make some changes to her approach in both food and in the kitchen cooking. So, after losing over 80 pounds on WW, which is amazing, for her, the recipe that got it all started, her 0 Point Plain Jane cheesecake. Those Greek yogurt cheesecakes, they're yummy. They are a staple of hers and mine. She now has endless recipes of all types, really, from stroganoff to chocolate no-bake cookies, from plain Jane cheesecake to sausage and cheese biscuits, and literally everything in between. The Pound Dropper Tribe is active and they are a force. So you should join us. And if you want to, you can find Miss Linz at thepounddropper.com or on Instagram at www.pounddropper.
Now back to our host, WW Phil.
Yeah. Does it bring you like good pride and joy to know that you're actually producing something that's good for you, good for your family, good for those that you actually would see? Like, do you feel like maybe in the future you're going to be called to like do this as a job? You know, like once maybe the kids are a little older, like go back into cooking or at least recipe cooking for the purpose of blogging and that kind of stuff. Like, you know, maybe you're the next Pound Dropper. Who knows, right?
I would love to have a cookbook. I just don't know how to even get onto that boat. I have no clue how to start that. My main huge dream is to open like a little mom and pop place. Yeah. Always wanted a little, you know, lunch and dinner or breakfast and lunch place. Always wanted. There's one around here in our town that we always go to, and it seats like very little amount of people. Yeah. And that's what I would love to have. And it'd be cool to have something around, you know, not necessarily WW, but have that healthy option for those who want that option. I think it would be cool. So that's
absolutely. I mean, we need more people to actually put the gas on and say that, hey, we have a healthy menu. It is a WW compliant menu. I don't see any reason why being able to list those things. You list them on recipes and you post them online. Right. Like, you know, I think what it helps do is it normalizes what some people feel is abnormal. You know, I think that when we admit that we're overweight or we admit that we struggle with food and that kind of stuff, some people bring a stigma to themselves and they think that, well, I'm less of a person because I'm overweight, and that is not true. We're all equal, great, amazing people, and we just have to figure out how we're going to navigate through how our body accepts overeating or how our body needs a caloric deficit to lose a little bit. I mean, surely there are people that struggle with legitimate diseases or sicknesses and that kind of stuff that make that harder. But I think in a general term, when we eat the right way, it really starts to have far-reaching tenets into our life. The healthiness that comes with good food can reach over and actually affect how we behave and how we feel about ourselves and how we respond to others, how we sleep. That's the topic that we're talking about this week. And like, what happens when I get good sleep? Oh, I respond better to other people. It makes me have a better relationship with those people. I don't overeat because I'm not unhappy or frustrated and that kind of stuff.
Well, I prefer to, like, you know, stick my hand in my kids' cereal boxes here and there, and I'm like, spread it afterwards, but it happens, and I move on for sure, and I try it. Yeah. You know, there's one day I ate like a whole cup of Lucky Charms, and it's like, but it's there. It's in my house. I do it, and I try not to do it, but it's there. Yeah. Allie before would eat a whole bag of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, my main struggle back in the day was living at gas stations and still eating 3 regulars. You know, it was like, what in the world was I thinking doing that? And you know, I've gone through periods of time, I've said this before, where I tried to eliminate all that. I've gone through a period of time where I continued to like have a little bit of that in a very measured way. Right. And then it allows for that growth period to happen to where you realize that, oh, even though I can make this fit, I don't necessarily need to. And then that is an empowering moment to when you're in control of it, both good and bad. You're in control of it both yes and no, not just saying I have to do this because, and be like, I can say no to this because. And I do lots of little mental exercises with myself like that to kind of jump over and talk about mindset and that kind of stuff. Like 2 years ago, I chose to not have sugar at all on Halloween, just that day. No candy, no sugar, nothing. Oh my gosh. On Halloween day. So that was it. That was October the 31st, 2018. October, the entire month of 2019, I decided no candy for the entire month, just to see that I could do it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean I went crazy in November and like gained a bunch of weight back or nothing like that. I didn't do it like that. I just wanted to prove that if there was a hard thing that I was willing to do, that I could do it. And I felt like that just empowered me to be able to do harder things in life. There are going to be surely struggles that come. Who could have ever planned for what we've had to endure from mid-March till now, and that kind of stuff. So it really, I feel like that WW on an inadvertent way, maybe it's totally calculated on their part, but the empowerment that they get when you realize that every decision can be actually scrutinized for the good, like not live your life under a microscope, but actually say, why do I do this? What's the reason behind this? Is this a healthy thing for me to do? If I have that conversation, then maybe I don't need to do that, or there is something that is equal but better, or something that's better but less expensive, that kind of stuff. So do you feel like any of that kind of stuff is kind of getting to the point in your life? Like, I mean, you've reached lifetime, you're definitely through maintenance and all the stuff. So that joy of seeking the lost, that's not here anymore. Now the struggle of maintaining is the real. So how do you feel like that has kind of got into your life? Like what do you do to challenge yourself and make sure that you're staying present and in that moment?
Well, I've been talking about the whole maintenance thing. I believe it's harder.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little more hard on myself when I step on that scale every day. I do step on that scale every day. I do say that. I know there's many that don't.
Yeah.
I forgot the question.
I mean, it's basically just what do you do to like challenge yourself to stay present in the journey? Like I feel like there's definitely a lot of people that will kind of come in season. When success is coming, it all feels good, and then something happens and you kind of get off of it, and that's an adequate roller coaster for the journey down. When you get there, and it's not like you need to gain 20 pounds every 6 months so that you can lose that 20 pounds to get that joy of losing back. You're like, it's that thing of like, now I need to learn to love and thrive where I'm at. Not where I'm going.
That's how I felt. I don't want to go back to, the size pants I was wearing. I could never find anything cute with those kind of sizes, or if I did, I didn't feel good in them. And, finding all these cute clothes that I used to wear back in my 20s is like so much fun. And I don't want to feel the way I felt prior joining WW. And I like being able to walk down the stairs and my daughter say, "Mommy, I love your outfit." Like, it makes me feel good about myself. And I know she knows I'm feeling 100% better with myself. And I do that for my kids. I do it for my husband. They've seen my attitude is completely different. I'm more happy. I would just sit on the couch all the time and just be miserable. And I just keep telling myself I don't want to go back to that alley I was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you're going to play the game, you want to be in the game, not on the sideline, just watching, right? And I think that there's been plenty of times when I had, you can sit there in your chair just dreaming about what it would be like to not have to carry that weight, not have to struggle to get up out of the chair and go get one more thing out of the cupboard. Like it's like that struggle can even be so micro in the moment, like, oh my gosh, I'm having to struggle to get up to go eat something that I think is going to make me feel better about the condition that I need to resolve to get out of this chair to go get that. It's like so circular that it continues to go. I'm like, how do we break that habit to say that, to realize, to be able to even to assess and have the thought that doesn't fix this.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, I would sit down at, every night with my husband and, kick back like a 12-pack and didn't think anything of it. And I don't miss that really. Mm-hmm. But I do, once in a while, every couple of weeks, we'll have our night where we play virtual reality and have our beer. And it's more, I enjoy it more now.
Yeah.
I did before because I was doing it every single night before, and I look forward to it now. Yeah. And I don't miss, having those beers every single night. So
yeah. And I say this all the time in regards to exercise. I say I exercise some now, so that I can do more later. Yeah. And the flip side of that with food is like I used to eat more, and now I'm happy with just some. Yeah. And the sum is a small amount, whatever that would be. would never have been satisfying previously. It was like I knew I needed to eat this, and then I'm always going to have a secondary bowl, or maybe even a third bowl, or whatever the portions were. Like eat another piece of bread or another slice of cheese, like 2 slices of cheese on a sandwich or whatever. You know, like going, making sure that I always do that more. It's like I need this to be this thick, big, hearty thing. When that is all just me telling myself fictitious truth. I didn't need that. Yeah. And the happiness that can come from the ability to reel that back into a sustainable, measurable way and assign that happiness, like say, that amount is good for me. Both good for me in a nutritional way, not even saying that this is good, healthy food. This may be just your regular old bread, not super healthy bread, just regular bread. But that amount and that portion controlled is good enough. Right. And that singular thing, and a lot of that comes with food tracking from the very beginning of WW, is just hitting that blue dot. And my thing has always been blue dots.
I know.
But you're talking about, like, for me, like you said earlier, kind of when you hit that 30 pounds, you started really believing in it. And I came into WW with almost zero knowledge of WW. I had a mother-in-law that had done it, and she had lost some weight, successful. I did it for a couple of months, lost a little bit of weight, and then I quit for a couple of years and then came back. So when I came in to it, I really had very little knowledge. I just knew that if I followed the plan and didn't go eat all of my weeklies, most likely, just trying to do a little math, I probably would lose weight. And I did. And over my first 16 weeks, lost 40 pounds, which is the first, like, my success story book. And when I got done with it, I was like, man, I can do that again. I can show up 16 more times, lose some more weight. Maybe I won't lose that. And I lost 35 pounds that second book. So and then I was like, man, I'm not stopping this. We're doing this forever. But it's one of those things, like, as I started to do it, I realized that the more and more I became obedient to just doing this one little thing, then the more success would come and allow me to expand how I thought about all this other stuff. And that's when the mindset aspect started to really kick in for me and started to allow me to dig into what was going on in Phil. And over time, that has truly grown, and I've started to tell my story and more stuff like that. And I really find a lot of joy in seeking people like yourself to just dig in and find out what it is about you that allowed you to feel like that success could come for you, and to live in that moment and say, man, I've got this story, and when I tell my story, people are inspired. And because they're inspired, I get refilled with that joy, and it makes me want to continue on. So I know you probably say that you did this for yourself, and you did it for your kids. Maybe even you kind of didn't do it for yourself at the beginning. You just wanted to feel better, kind of like myself. So as this journey has kind of gone, what do you feel like your evolving whys have been, like, as you've done this? I love to hear what people say about what their why is.
My newer why, or my why in the beginning?
Well, you can tell as many as you want. If you've had 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, but you can tell us what's current and then maybe what it began as, for sure.
Well, my whole hospital scare was for my kids.
Yeah.
I wanted to get healthy for my kids. I wanted to be around here. I've seen so many people my age, I'm 34, just die.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere. And it had a lot to do with health reasons. And, that kind of lit a fire under me to just get my act together for them, because I don't want them to not have myself or my husband around. And, when the weight started coming off, I kind of was doing this more for me to feel better, inside and out. And I think it's continued that way for both of my whys. I enjoyed being around and hanging outside with my kids. So that's my main thing, is my huge why is my children. Yeah. Is being able to run around with them, not be out of breath every 5 seconds, not have to sit down and, look from afar, not taking pictures without me in there. I did a lot of that. I can't find a lot of pictures of myself before because I didn't want to be in them. I wanted nothing to do with the pictures, or I hid behind my children or clothing, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be here for them. I want to be around for them, and I want to be able to do things with them. Yeah.
Is it a relatively new thing for you to be proud of yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm heck yeah proud.
Yeah.
I'm super proud of myself, how far I've come. I'd never thought in 1 year I'd be this far into my journey and reach where I really wanted to be. My original goal was, I think, about 30 pounds less than I actually did, because I never thought I was actually going to hit 60 pounds. I never thought it was going to happen. And once I started seeing it, come off, I was like, I think I got this, and I got it. So I love WW. I think it's changed many lives, including myself. So
yeah, absolutely.
And there's a lot of skepticism with people as far as food, and that's another thing why I do my page. Is like, you can still eat this delicious, decadent stuff and still lose weight.
Yeah.
Like there's I'm proof here.
Yeah. You didn't do this whole thing eating 23 smart points worth of lean chicken and rice every day, right?
And don't get me wrong, I love my chicken.
Yeah.
I love, yogurt. I love chicken. I love all the stuff that people say that's all you have to eat. And I like being able to throw it into fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely something to be said to ignite the creative gene within us into our WW journey. When I see people that start to be creative on WW, especially food-wise, but also in activity and in mindset for sure. But when you start to see that creativity grow, you start to see somebody who's willing to adapt to poor behaviors to find healthy ones. And when the healthy habits start to prevail, then we can say that even when struggles come, my healthy habits are going to be stronger than that. They might not always win out one for one, but sometimes a healthy habit will allow us to make the behavior change, so that instead of having a bad week that was previously would have been a bad month, maybe it's just a bad day, or even better yet, having just a bad meal. And I don't even want to use the word bad. I'm just saying one that does not qualify as a success in the aspect of being on plan. So if you made the plan and you did not achieve the plan, then we can say that that day could have been better. But we can also, in the mindset aspect, say, all right, it is. I chose to do that. I can live with that. I'm going to get back on track. And previously, I know that for myself, there was periods of time to where a failure would be, whatever, let's continue failing, and then not even assess how far away from plan I was getting, or even worse than that, to go months, years, decades with no plan at all, or no even assessment of the fact that I needed to make changes in my life, just living totally oblivious.
Yeah, for sure.
So now that you've lost 90 pounds, and you sound kind of self-proclaimed that you did most of that without activity, and you have a very active mom lifestyle, are there any go-to activities that you do that bring you joy and that kind of stuff? Or are you still a non-exerciser, or is there something you've started to do?
I'm pretty non-exercise, but I do like walking and going on my elliptical and dancing. I know you all have seen me dancing around in my kitchen. That's my main thing.
Yeah.
I do enjoy dancing with my kids and just by myself.
Yeah.
But, with my back issues, it's kind of hard for me to do certain things like lift weights, but I do want to try and start strength training because it may help my core more. So that's one thing I do want to work on. And eventually I want to get a treadmill, because just walking slightly, I think more so than around my house, should help me as well too. So
yeah. Did you have an injury, or is it just something you've kind of always had? Or
well, I've had a lot of injuries throughout the year, as far as falling. Back in high school, I fell snowboarding right on my tailbone, and I cracked my sacrum area. And then I've fallen down the stairs at jobs, slipped and fallen. It's just a whole bunch of things, like lifting at jobs with working in the food industry. Is you got to lift a lot.
Yeah.
You have to be able to lift 50 pounds, and I just wear and tear over the years.
Okay. Well, that's cool that at least you want to, and I truly believe that over time that if you can build that strength up, then activity can bring a lot of joy. I know for myself, I went through that period of time where I was very reluctant and very hesitant to want to try. I just kind of had to make myself the promise that I'll at least try it. And I knew that if if I couldn't do it, then I would just maybe like dial it back a little bit. But I've been successful at finding a sustainable way to exercise. It's been a little cumbersome here around the house through this period of time. We've got some light weights here in the house, so when I do work out, I have to do it with like lots of high and fast reps to get the workout in. But man, I've learned that with my even just my 2 tens in a hand, like I can go to town for about 9 minutes solid and get a really good workout going on. I've even done some of the new the Fit On ones it's a new app that's in the WW app. Yeah, and I've done a couple of those, and like they actually get my heart rate going, and I was pretty excited that was added.
I gotta grab a charger. Just give me one.
Pretty cool benefit. Oh, that's fine. I have learned over time that I have to have mine on the charger, or failure will happen. So I always plug mine in before we get going. But
I have mom brain, so I completely forgot.
It's no problem. It's no problem. So tell me, like, what do you feel like is something that you have to do to make sure that you stay successful? And that could be a tactic on how you do your food. Like, are you a pre-tracker or a planner or that kind of stuff? Or you willy-nilly it and just kind of assess it at the end of the day? Like, what helps you stay on your plan to get to your daily success goals?
Well, I am a dessert freak. You know, it's funny because before WW, I never ate dessert.
Okay.
And dessert is totally my thing now. So I try and pre-track dessert so that I'm able to enjoy it at the end of the night. For some reason, I don't know why I have such a sweet tooth now. I have no idea what my problem is, but I enjoy it. Yeah. As far as planning food, I just make sure I have a lot of protein in my house. Mm-hmm. Freezer-wise, I really don't meal plan. Okay. I kind of wing it. I wing it the next day, or I think of it that night to take it out for the next day and try to come up with something. You know, I bop around, certain, like Pinterest and stuff to get ideas, but I really wing it. Yeah.
I get it. And like, maybe that's just a natural thing for a chef to do, to like figure out creative ways to make whatever you can put your hands on to make it turn into something. It's pretty admirable. I don't have that ability at all. Like it's recipe, follow it to a T, maybe change a few things. Like, I realized that instead of an egg or instead of oil or something like that, you can put Greek yogurt in most things, or you can put applesauce, or you can trade it out for a banana and that kind of thing. So those swaps, some of those I've learned over time and that kind of stuff. But man, I have like zero desire to be a foodie, so I'm always inspired greatly by people who can do that to a level of success, because it's not me.
Well, last night I was like, oh crap, I try and figure out the night before what I may want to do. Like, I'll think of a couple things, but last night I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I just had my husband take some ground turkey out of the freezer last night. And I wanted something really easy to do today, and that was my 0 Point crock pot turkey chili, which I love. Yeah. And that's such a good meal to have as far as the meal preppers, too, because it lasts forever. And the amount that I prepped is like for a family of 10.
All right. Well, there you go.
And you can turn so many crock pot, like, proteins into like 10 different meals. Like when I do chicken in my crock pot, I'll make like 5 different things with that chicken. So yeah, I enjoy doing that.
Yeah. Can you eat chili when it's not cold outside? Can you eat chili in the summertime?
I can, because of the air conditioning. Yeah. Like, what's the difference? But my husband, he's like, you got to make it before it gets too hot.
That's the same way I am. Yeah. I mean, like, we actually
eat a cheeseburger.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's like one of those weird like things, like soup and chili like have to have cold weather. So this week, like 2 days in a row, like Monday and Tuesday, I think we had like 40-degree weather here in Oklahoma. So we made chili, and I had chili tonight for dinner. It was like leftovers from 2 nights ago, and it's super good. I totally changed it up and did it different. I did it with Fritos this time, so like a Frito chili pie kind of thing. But previously, we normally will make like low point chili, but this time we use some really high point sausage, really good rich sausage in it. So it was a little higher point. But the way I get off track on eating chili is I love like a ton of crackers and cheese in my chili. So
my thing is bread or cheese bread.
yeah. So I love a 0 point chili because I'm gonna light it up with a bunch of saltine crackers and cheese.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need the carbs to dip.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need that cheese, you need that bread.
Yeah, and I'm the same way with like soups and stuff. Like we'll make this amazing. I think it's 0 point. If not, it's like a huge portion for 1 smart point. But it's this enchilada soup that we make normally in the wintertime several times, and I light it up with some tortilla chips in there, and it's like, what's 0 or 1 point for a bowl will go to like 10 points like that.
Exactly. That's why I like doing certain 0 point meals to, have the condiments on the, in there or whatever you want to put in it.
Yeah. And what's funny is like, that's totally an exercise and worth it because I'm the same guy that if I go to like somebody's family cookout and they give me a regular burger and this 7 point big thick jumbo bun that they bought for the whole party, I'm like, I'm not eating your bun. I'll bring my 2 pieces of 45 calorie bread and call that 2 points, and I'm fine because that ain't worth it. But all those saltines are worth it, which doesn't even make sense as a mathematical equation. But I determine that, and I can live in that. And that's what I always tell people, like, man, your success will come when you start to determine what values to you. Like, that's it. That opens the door to your success. Like,
I know nobody's really been able to enjoy any kind of parties lately, so I guess that's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But I had my birthday like 9 days ago. Is on the Cinco de Mayo, which typically is always this big Mexican fiesta. We go to this great Mexican restaurant. I normally have like 40 to 50 people that come. It's just the best day, and I love to have it. Yeah, and this year was Taco Tuesday. It was Cinco de Mayo. It was my birthday.
Is that?
It was awesome.
I was so excited that Taco Tuesday wound up on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, and here we go. And I had to like put everything on pause, but we still had some family members come on. We still made good food, and like the truth is like it was a great day. And I feel like that's one thing that COVID is going to teach us all is the ability to like actually do that mental math and say, man, things are pretty good. Like I understand like sorrows can come. I think I said this earlier, like troubles can come and that kind of stuff. And we have to go through those. But like I say this all the time. It's like a day of me living this life now, not having to carry 150 pounds. I will never say any day is harder than what I used to have to go through. Like it was hard, and I didn't even realize how hard it was carrying all that weight around. And I'm sure you probably feel very similar. Like if you pick up 90 pounds right now and try to carry it around for the next 20 minutes, 5 times to the second floor of your house, back up and down, you'd be like, oh my gosh, how did I do this twice, much less 50 times in a day?
I'd love to do that thing where you pick up the amount of weight you lost, but I'm not sure if I'd be able to lift 90 pounds.
Yeah. You should do a WW Smile.
I'm going to try to. I've been trying to. Once this COVID's over, I'm trying, Phil. I'm trying.
Yeah, I started that hashtag, I don't know, over a year ago. And it's just a great line in the sand kind of thing of like, man, I don't want to go back. Like I want to say I've lost this amount, and this is a visual representation of that, and I don't want to go back and gain that back. I mean, obviously we'll go up and down and we'll gain a pound or two, but like what is it that is going to keep us attached to that thing and says, I don't want to, gaining 1 pound means nothing, but what can I do to always draw my heart back to that place where I have found success and where I found happiness and where I found joy and I actually lived my life and thrived in it. And if we can stay attached to that moment in that day and see that the blessing of that is getting to be a better person that we can give away to everyone in our life, it's heaven. And that we can live in that. Like we said, for you, it was at 30 pounds. For me, it was at 40. And that is a long ways before we got to where we are today. Like that joy started way before the end goal, So anyway, there's about a minute and a half left before we get kicked off of here. They won't let us go for an hour. So I always want to end with you having the ability to ask me any questions you might have for me. So what do you want to know about WW Phil?
Me? What do I want to know? Oh, gosh. What is your favorite food?
I mean, like my
Or
favorite
genre?
favorite genre food. Well, the favorite genre food is probably either pizza or Mexican food. I love both of those. I can do chips and queso like 5 times a week. As far as like my WW journey, like I eat the same thing for lunch every day. It's like a turkey sandwich and chips. I just like block that out. I typically will eat a Heat bar every day in the morning time, and sometimes I'll have like a Quest bar in the afternoon. And then dinner is kind of like my flexible meal that I leave that plus my over points, and I always get a blue dot. So it's like anything plus 8. If I stay in that range, then I'm happy. But my favorite single food that I absolutely love is definitely pizza. Like pizza has always been like just. I mean, I could eat
So you're a dinner
5 or 6 pieces before I did WW. I love pizza.
So is your favorite part of the day dinner?
Yeah.
Nice.
Breakfast and lunch for me is just very block.
I think I like breakfast because I'm alone.
Oh, okay. Well, we got 5 seconds. So
Peaceful, quiet time with my kids are napping, and I'm just like.
Thank you for
What a
coming.
great conversation. I enjoyed talking to Allie so much. She is an inspiration. If you'd like to follow her on Instagram, she is at Chef Allie 417_WW. Thank you for listening this time, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the WW Phil Podcast, your guide to feel good. This podcast is not sponsored or affiliated with WW or any other brand. All statements and opinions on this show are those of Phil alone. Those who follow the WW program can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Phil has lost weight on a prior program and continues to use WW.